Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Satimule tadvipako jati ayur bhogaha. As long as these panchakleshas remain, till then the birth, the longevity of life and the bhoga, various kinds of experiences, joys and sorrows, they are bound to be. And all the different shades of understanding about this sutra we have seen. Thereafter, we were told that these kleshas leading to the various kind of karma, ashaya, how they are the collection of all the karma results, te lhada paritapa phalaha punya punya hetutvat. So these karmashayas, they give only two kinds of results. Punya hetuka sukha phala and apunya hetuka dukkha phalayati. So, the birth, janma, bhogaha, if they are the result of good karma in the last life, we are bound to get happiness in this life. If we have had a very bad life, last life, then we are bound to get miseries in this life. Yatha idam dukkham pratikulatmakam eva vishaya sukha kalepi dukkham iti eva pratikulatmakam yoginaha. However, for the yogis, for the seekers of truth, this joy or the sukham or the pleasures, even at the time of the enjoyment, for the yogi it is always a dukkha. So how come Vishaya sukha kalepi dukkhamiti eva pratikulatmakam? Sukha is not pratikula, and yet dukkham eva for the yogis. How it is? This is now said in the 15th sutra. Parinama tapa samskara dukkhaihi gunavritti avirodhacha dukkhameva sarvam vivekinaha. No, sarvasya asyayam raganuviddha chetana achetana sadhanadhinaha sukhanubhavaha iti tatrasti ragajaha karmashayaha. Now here the teacher starts explaining one by one what is the reason that this is called as the parinama dukkha, etc. How this gives the misery. So, sarvasya chetana achetana sadhana dhinaha ayam sukhanubhavaha raganuviddaha. So, this is a common factor for all the beings. What is that? Sarvasya praninaha, for all the beings, chetana achetana sadhana dhinaha ayam bhogaha sukhanubhavaha. Unless the chetana and achetana are available, there is no possibility of the sukham. There is no possibility of experience of the sukham. And this is raganuviddaha, and this sukham is pierced by, anuviddha, shattered, broken, pierced, wounded by the raga. So, wherever we have something which gives us happiness, the raga klesha is born. Because towards the source of happiness we are attached. And therefore, every sukha is adding more and more raga klesha to our mind. See, Therefore, sarvasya praninaha chetana chetana sadhanadinaha ayam sukhanubhavaha raganuviddaha iti. This is true. Tatra ragajaha karmashayaha asti, and as a result of this ragaja, born out of the attachment or the raga, then the karmashaya is gathered. So two things. One is, when we are getting involved in the pleasures, we are adding raga, klesha to our mind. And as a result of this ragaja, then we create karmashayaha. Then karmashaya, the samskar of the karma, which will be responsible for jati ayur bhogaha, for the next life, they are created. Tathacha, and similarly, when dukkha sadhanani dveshti muyhati cha, and at the same time, at the time of enjoyment or the pleasures, dukkha sadhanani dveshti, one doesn't like anything which is disturbing our happiness. See, suppose you are seeing some serial and you are very much interested in that, and suddenly some advertisement comes, you get very angry. Or that time some guest comes. You can watch, these people who are so glued to the various serials, they just don't want anybody to come during that period of their serials which are going on. So dukkha sadhanani dveshti and muyhati cha, and thereafter they start thinking in a deluded manner. This is how even at the time of enjoyment or the pleasures, it is yoginaha dukkham. This is the parinama. And therefore dvesha moha krutaha karmashayaha asti. So as a result, the dvesha moha kruta, born out of the hatred and the delusion, again karmashayaha, the impressions on the mind are created, which will be creating our next life. This is called as the parinamatapa. So here he gives some example. Tathacha uktam bhutani anupahatya na upabhogaha sambhavati. This is from the Manusmriti, where it is said, unless we take away, snatch away things from others, we cannot get it. This is the rule. For example, a person who has got lot of money, example will make it clear. There is some kind of auctions going on everywhere in different areas. Now what is the auction? Auction is a public snatching away of the things on the basis of your monetary strength. And then there is a prestige, this antique piece, the pen which some artist has used for signing, or the pen which was used by some judge for passing the last judgment, that is being auctioned. Now they call it, the cost of that pen may be hardly $2 or $1, but now it goes on $200, $300, $500, then $500,000, all like that. And the one who takes it away before everybody, what do you think? I have got more money. Same thing happens with bhoga. Therefore, this uktam cha bhutani anupahatya na upabhoga sambhavati. Therefore, himsa krutaha sharira api karmashaya asti. Now the third karmashaya, parinama, we have seen. What is the first one? Is parinamatapa. So first is, we get more and more raga klesha. Then second thing is that which is disturbing our enjoyment, we get dvesha and moha klesha because of that. And the third one is, we are wanting to enjoy even at the cost of destroying others. This becomes the himsa klesha. These are the three parinam as a result of the sukha bhoga, which is recognized by the yoginaha. So, shariraha api karmashayaha asti. And therefore, Vishaya Sukham avidya iti uktam. And therefore, Vishaya Sukha is nothing but an expression of ignorance. Panchasuna grihastasya. Because grihastha, he creates 5 kinds of sins. When the water is taken from the well, there he kills something. When the chulli is when you are burning the fire for cooking, that time you kill some things. And then marjorie, when you are washing your clothes or the utensils, that time some himsa takes place. And in this manner, these various kinds of himsa, they take place and they create karmashaya, sharira. In this manner, this the first is why the yogis think that sukha anubhava is dukkham eva sarvam yoginaha. This is one reason. Parinama tapat, because of the parinama tap. So, or parinama samskara, or parinama dukkha. Now the second one is bhogeshu indriyanam truptehe ya upashanti tat sukham. Now here explanation is given. What is the meaning of sukham actually? Suppose I want to have a cup of tea. Now what is the meaning of wanting a cup of tea? Means there is a strong disturbance in the mind that I want a cup of tea. Now that disturbance in the mind is called as desire, and as long as the desire is valid in the mind, my mind will not be available for application in any field. Everything is true, but what about the tea? It will again and again keep on disturbing. And then what happens? You get a cup of tea. The moment you get a cup of tea, so the disturbance in the mind on account of the desire for the tea, they are quietened. And therefore the quietened mind is the source of happiness. And the disturbed mind is the source of miseries. But this is not recognized by the ignorant people. And they think that the tea is the source of happiness, and when I get tea, I am happy. Therefore, indriyanam bhogeshu truptehe ya upashanti. So, indriyanam upashanti. When the faculties are quietened because of the bhoga, tat sukham. And because of this laulyat, ya anupashanti tad dukkham. And if the senses or the mind is laulya, is totally disturbed, then it is called as the dukkham. So, tad dukkham. Indriyanam cha vaitrushnyam bhogabhyasena na kartum shakyam. And if one thinks that by fulfilling the desires, we can conquer the desires, it is a wrong proposition. See? Indriyanascha vaitrushnyam, trishna rahityam, freedom from the attachment for the enjoyment of these worldly objects, by bhogabhyasena, by more and more indulgence, it is impossible. You know what happens? How the problems take place. Anything that we do regularly for a period of maybe a week or so, our mind gets habituated to that. And because of that habit, if the same thing is not repeated, it gets disturbed. And that disturbance creates misery in our life. This is how, if you see, when a person smokes the first cigarette, what is the supporting data about smoking the cigarette? Zero. Then he smokes the second cigarette. Then the supporting data is 1 cigarette that he has smoked. Then he smokes the second cigarette. So what is the experience now? Smoking 1 cigarette. Then he smokes the third cigarette, supported by smoking 2 cigarettes earlier. And when he smokes nth cigarette, so he has smoked so far n minus 1 cigarette. And when n is equal to infinite, in that case n and n minus 1 are equal. And then the person becomes a victim. This is how this laulyat by these disturbances, abhogabhyase na upashanti, anupashanti iti, tad dukkham, and that creates misery. So, indriyanam ta vaitrishnam bhogabhyase nana kartum shakya, akasmat yataha bhogabhyasam ragaha indriyanam kaushalani cha vivardhante. When one is doing the bhoga freely without any control, then two things happen. One is the raga and indriyanam kaushalani vivardhate. Our attachment to the world, to the objects of enjoyment or indulgence increases, and also indriyanam kaushalani, and then one wants to have more and more different methods of enjoying the same thing. See? What is this every day, the same thing in the breakfast, sandwich. Can't you prepare something? You don't want that. So we want breakfast, but not every day the sandwich. Okay, today the sandwich will be not from the fridge, okay, for a change. But it is a sandwich. So, the indriyanam kaushalani, and because of that, such a variety of objects are created in this world. This is how it also leads to the perversion. What is perversion? Perversion is when we are wanting different methods of indulgence and enjoyment. And the different methods of indulgence and enjoyment can go to any extent. There is no limit to that. Like, in the Western world, the man marrying a man, woman marrying a woman, now it has become a legally accepted practice. That day will not be far away when the man marrying the dog and the dog marrying the man is also becoming illegal. It will not be far away. It can happen in this world. Because indriyanam kaushalani cha vivardhate tasmad bhogabhyasaha sukhasya anabhyupayaha. Therefore, bhogabhyasa, the one who is doing more and more bhoga, that is not the right way to remove the attachment or the raga. Yaha sukharthi vishaya vasananuvasitaha mahati dukkha pankte nimagnaha sa khalu ayam. Now this person who is fully immersed in the enjoyment of the worldly objects, which is basically the source of misery. What he is doing, he has given a very beautiful example. What happens? Saha khalu ayam vrushchika visha bhitaha ashi vishena dashtaha khalu esha parinama dukkhata. So one person was afraid of getting bitten by the scorpion, and therefore he opted for getting bitten by the snake. So we wanted to have the joy from one object, and we feel it's too bad, so we go for other. Like, the other day one person came and asked, Swamiji, can you suggest something? If I want to stop smoking, with what should I replace? See? So now I am smoking, this is what I should do. So I said, you should start now passive smoking. Means what? You go to that area where it's a smoking zone and stand there and do the passive smoking. Slowly it will happen. No, don't make jokes of my life. I'm really worried. How to stop? I think I will have to take some kind of support. Is it okay if I start chewing tobacco instead of smoking tobacco? See? Or they will start that pan parag or this kind of thing. So then I told him, okay, you want something, you try this. Try this trichotis. Trichotis is ajwain. I said, you try ajwain, put it in the paper and make a tube, cigarette kind of thing out of that and burn and smoke. It may help you. And it did help him. Oh, but now problem is I had to carry it with me. I said, I didn't ask you to make a habit of it. Therefore, like in Hindi there is a saying, Akash se tapke, khajur pe latke. In the same manner, you want to give up attachment to one kind of enjoyment and you get entangled in other kind of enjoyment. So, Esha dukkhama parinama dukkhata nama sukha avasthayam api sukhanubhuti samayepi yoginam klishnati. And because of this, the yogi, the people who know what happens inside, so even at the time of enjoyment, they cannot enjoy because yehi samsparshaja yoga bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha. In the 5th chapter, Bhagavan says, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha. Those bhogas, samsparshaja, when the sense organs and the sense object come together, and as a result, whatever joy you get, ye samsparshaja bhoga, dukkha yonaya evate. They are the womb of miseries. Because adyantavanta, any sukha, joy, pleasure that we have, it doesn't give you eternal happiness. For example, a cup of tea, yes, it does give us happiness, but how long? Only for a few minutes. Again, after 2-3 hours, again the same thing is wanted. And this is with reference to one object. Now imagine hundreds and thousands of objects, we are victims. And as a result, there is not a single moment when our mind is not disturbed because of the desires for the desirable objects. And as a result, mind is always like a poultry farm. We are not a person inside, we are a crowd. One asking for the tea, other asking for the pakoda, third asking for the third object, fourth asking for the fourth object, and all of them, are having a terrible caw inside. You must have seen, yesterday I was sitting there and reading the newspaper, and in that room, probably 5-6 ladies were sitting. I was sitting outside reading newspaper. I was enjoying. No one was listening to other, and everybody was cutting the sentence of other. And like a poultry, exactly like that goes on in our mind. And knowing this very well, yoginaha sukha anubhava samayepi dukkham eva. Even at the time of the sukha, it is misery alone. Now the second one was the tapa dukkhata. First was the parinama dukkhata, second was the tapa dukkhata, and the third is the samskara dukkha. So let us take what is the tapa dukkhata. Now, sarvasya chetana chetana sadhana dhinaha tapanubhavaha dveshanuviddaha. See, sukhanubhavaha, born out of the first one, parinama dukkhata, was born out of the raganuviddaha. This is dveshanuviddaha. See the difference. So as much rag is the klesha, we have seen avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. As much rag is the klesha, a source of creating karmashaya, a source of creating impressions which will give us the next birth. In the same manner, dvesha is also a source of creating karmashaya which gives us next birth. Therefore, sarvasya of all the people, or even sukhanubhava kalepi, chetana chetana sadhanadhinaha, born out of the jada and the chetana, things and beings. Now, tapanubhava dveshanuviddaha, it is influenced by dvesha. How? Tatra dveshajaha karmashaya asti. So the first thing. In case of the parinama samskar, what it was? That was the ragajaha. Here it is dveshajaha karma samskaram asti. Then sukha sadhanani cha prarthayamanaha. And those who are under this, they will be wanting the comforts and joy. So there will be yachana, prathayamana. I wish this is like that, but I am not getting it. And in case of the parinama samskara, what we have seen? that we are enjoying. Why these fellows are coming and disturbing us? So, toward the source of misery, there will be hatred. And here, there will be a hunger, begging for the source of happiness, the worldly objects. Therefore, Deshanuviddaha, Dveshajaha, Karmashaya asti, and Sukha sadhanani cha prarthayamanaha, Kayena vacha manasa, Parispandate. And for seeking happiness, the worldly objects, by the speech, by the mind, by the body, Parispandate, he will be putting a lot and lot of efforts. And tataha tasyaha cheshtayaha param anugruhnati upahanti cha. And when he is putting forward efforts for getting happiness, to remove the dukkha or the miseries, what will happen? He will anugruhnati, sometime he will behave properly so that he gets the things by sweet interaction. Or if that is not happening, then upahanti cha. See, I am telling you, like these people who are taking money openly from the poor, belonging to the various, this underworld, they come with a cold face. Kindly put down everything that you have and stand aside. If don't, I'll kill you. So they will take away everything. Thank you very much. And go. So, if somebody gives possibly in a good manner, they are sweet. If not, I'll kill you. Therefore, anugruhnati upahanti cha iti. And as a result of this, what will happen? Dharma dharmo upachinoti karmashayaha. And as a result, dharma adharma is created. That means, for getting the objects of our joy, we will try to follow the path of righteousness, or if that doesn't help, we will not mind to take other course. And as a result, dharma and adharma takes place. So these, and sakarmashayaha lobhat mohat cha tapadukkhata uchyate. And that karmashaya, that collection of the impressions on the mind, born out of the greed as well as the delusion, is called as tapadukkhata. And in this manner, the second reason why yoginaha sarvam dukhameva. Therefore, the yogis are very aware that what we are enjoying, it is nothing but the misery alone. Now, the next one is ka punaha samskara dukkhata. What is the meaning of samskara dukkha? This is the third one. Sukhanubhavat sukha samskarashaya. Dukkhanubhavat api dukkha samskarashaya. So, when we have the various kinds of experiences, joy or the sorrows, accordingly we get two kinds of impressions on the mind. So, when we are experiencing pleasures, we want to repeat it again and again. And when there are miseries, we want to avoid it again and again. In this manner, these samskar born out of the experiences are called the vasana samskar. Now these samskar, vasanas make our experiences still worse. How they make it worse? Before we go here, take a general example. See, for example, we are enjoying in some, let us say, hill station, we have gone for a vacation. And the people are enjoying. But I am the one who has gone to all over the world. So what will happen? Now those experiences which I had in other places, cleanliness, beauty, well-behavior, everything so spin and span, and I come here and everywhere, so others are enjoying, but I will be the one sorting out myself. But why Indians don't do the things properly? See? So my earlier samskar, vasanas, which I have gathered as a result of good experiences in other parts of the world, will not allow me to enjoy along with the others. So this is called as samskara dukkhata. So here another example is given. Evam karmabhyaha vipake anubhuyamane sukhe dukkhe va punaha karmashaya prachayaha. So when we are experiencing the sukha dukkha as a result of good and bad karma, we keep on accumulating the karmashaya or the vasanas. So punaha karmashaya prachayaha. And this smriti or this memory again becomes the cause of our next efforts. Therefore again we put efforts, and as a result of the effort again samskaras are created, and then again jati ayur bhogaha, and in this manner this chakra evam idam anadi viprasrutam dukkha srotaha yoginam eva pratikulatmakatvat. And in this manner the series of different kinds of thoughts, agitation, disturbance, vrittis in the mind will never stop. Therefore, is idam anadi chakravat viprasrutam, expanded very badly, dukkha srotaha. This dukkha srotaha, the continuous flow of miseries, yoginam eva pratikulatmakatvat udvejayati. And this is not acceptable to the yogi. Why? Pratikula. Why pratikula? Who is the yogi? Yogi is the one whose goal is yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. But all these things are creating the chitta vrittis, and therefore udvegayati, creates more disturbance for the yogi. So udvejayati, and therefore the samskara dukkhata also is a source of misery. Now, question is, if this is the truth, why the other people are not able to understand? Now, this is our question. Why don't they understand? So, kasmat. Now, here the reply is, he vidvan akshipatra kalpaha iti. This example is so beautiful. Vidwan, the wise yogi, is like the akshipatra. Akshipatra means the eyeball. Akshipatra iva. Yatha urna tantuhu akshipatre nyastaha sparshena dukayati. Anneshu gatra avayaveshu evam etani dukkhani yoginam na anneshu gatra avayaveshu na. So, you take this Urnatantu. Urnatantu means the thread of silk. Now the thread of silk, if it goes in your eyeball, it is so painful. But if the same thread of silk is on any part of the body, it is so comforting, you know. I never put on anything except silk, you know. Right from childhood, the habit, you know. In our house, you know, even the bed sheets are silk, the curtains, we are all silky people, silky worms. I like the touch of silk. Oh, very good. Now if that silk thread goes in the eyes, it is so awfully painful. In the same manner, ignorant people, they are like the rest of the body. And this yogi or the wise person is like the akshipatra, like the eyeball, where the misery is immediately recognized, but not in case of the other parts of the body. So, yoginam eva krishnati itaram pratipattaram na. But the others who are experiencing the worldly enjoyment, they don't understand why these people are negative. Enjoy, life is meant for enjoyment. Itaram tu, but those who are other, upattam swakarmopahrutam dukkham tyajantam tyaktam upadadanam adivasana vichitraya chitta vrittaya samantataha anuviddham hatavve eva. But the other ignorant people, they will keep on collecting, and then I don't like the throwing in again, and as a result, the life is like a marketplace. And as a result, their chitta, anadi vasana vichitraya chitta vritya, and then the mind becomes a storehouse of all terrible, different, impossible kind of impressions of good or bad samskar through the various experiences. You know, the example in the last sutra given was so beautiful. What was the example? Like the net of the fisherman which is thrown to catch the fish, the number of knots is so much. In the same manner, the various kinds of impressions which are gathered by our mind as a result of various samskara is so much that we are caught up in our own creations. And this is why this happens, because avidyaya, ahankara, mamakara, anupatitam. So, because of the ignorance, these ignorant people, ahankara and mamakara, I-ness and my-ness, because anupatitam, those who are living at that level. So, bahya, adhyatmika, ubhaya nimittaha, Triparvana. Parva means the types. Triparvana. Like the Adhyatmic, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik. These three types of miseries, they are continuously going through tapaha anuplavante. And as a result of this, tad eva anadi dukkha srotasa muhyamanam atmanam bhutagramancha drushtva yogi dukkha sarva dukkha kshaya karanam samyak darshanam sharanam prapadyate. And the yogi, knowing this very well, that we are under the influence of these three miseries only because of this mamata and ahanta. And because of these only we suffer muhyamanam. Therefore, the yogi atmanam bhutagramancha drushtva, looking at himself and the body, etc., having seen properly with discrimination, sarva dukkha kshaya karanam, samyak darshanam, the right understanding which is the cause of the destruction of all the miseries, sharanam prapadyate, meaning he attains refuge in the wisdom, the tattva jnana. And this is how the yoginam sarvam dukkham eva. So we have seen the three aspects: parinama, tapa, and the samskara dukkhehi. And the fourth one is gunavritti avirodhacha. Now what is happening? Gunavritti avirodhacha, gunanam sattvadi trayanam vrittaya svabhavaha tasam avirodhat parasparam militva pravrittehe. So they are never functioning independently. Sattva guna comes, then he suppresses the rajas tamas. Then after some time, rajas takes over. Then sattva tamas is put down. You must have seen, when you go on the long drives, sometime one car overtakes. After some time, the one who has overtaken, then he gets tired. Okay, now let us go. Then slowly. Then the other one who was left behind, he overtakes. And then the children in the car say, see, he is going ahead of us. Uncle, come on, let us go fast. Again, in this manner, all the three gunas. Sometime rajas takes over, tamas and sattva is down. Sometime tamas takes over, rajas, sattva is down. In this manner, these three gunas are continuously increasing and decreasing. And avirodhat, tasam avirodhat, parasparam militva pravrittehe, sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. Now, another meaning of this, gunavritti avirodhacha. Because what is the goal of the yogi? Yogi's goal is chitta vritti nirodha. Because of these various kinds of vishaya sukha, the enjoyment, the pleasures born out of the worldly things, because of this, the guna vrittis increase, they don't reduce. So, guna vritti avirodhan. And therefore, this sukham is contrary to the yoga. And that is why sarvam dukkham eva yoginaha. Therefore, it is dukkham, sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. Buddhi guna paraspara anugrahit tantri bhuya shantam ghoram mudham va trigunam eva pratyam arabhyate arabhante. Now these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, they create the three types of vrittis. Which are the three types of vritti? Sattva guna creates the shanta, rajoguna creates the ghora, and tamo guna creates the mudha vritti. So, shanta, ghora, mudha, quite disturbed and dull-witted. These three kinds of moods are created. And triguna veva pratyam arabhante, and this manner the three types of knowledges are initiated. And these three being dependent on each other, their knowledge is never stable. Therefore, anyonya shraya vritti, they are depending on each other. So, nacha sopi tadrush pratyaya rupaha asya parinamaha sthirayiti. Because sometimes you are in a sattvic mood. Now that sattvic mood will not remain all the time. Immediately something will happen and the rajoguna will take place. Then again rajoguna will also disappear, tamoguna will come. In this manner, they are not firm, they are not stable, they go on changing. Take an example. You decide, oh, let me go for satsang, or let me sit for meditation. Sattva guna. Meditation, I have been sitting every day. I had to clean my clothes. By doing meditation, clothes will not become clean. I have to wash them. So you get away, enough of meditation, let me do it. And then, I think I can do it later, not now. Then what do you do? I think I will sleep for half an hour. So, let me sit for meditation, sattva guna. Then let me wash my clothes, not meditation, rajoguna. And then not now, after some time. Let me rest for some time. What you have done, that's a different issue. In this manner, all the three gunas are chanchala. They are not stable. Therefore, their knowledge is also not stable. So, guna vrittam cha chalam, chittam kshipra parinami. And as a result, the chitta becomes continuously changing. One this moment, the other moment. This is parinami uktam. And therefore, this rupati shaya dharmaha vritti shayascha parasparena viruddhyate. And therefore, this rupati shaya dharmaha, rupati shayaha, which are those various kinds of dharma? There are 8 of them. One is dharma, jnana, vairagya, aishwarya, and their opposite, adharma, ajnana, avairagya, anaishwarya. In this manner, these 8 types of thoughts become predominant in the mind. When they become predominant in the mind, vritti shayascha, then these 3 vrittis, shanta, ghora and mudha, these 3 vrittis, parasparena viruddhyate. Then they are creating agitation because one is strong, it subsides the other. For example, if dharma is prominent, adharma will be subdued. If jnana is prominent, ajnana will be subdued, and so on. And therefore, yada dharma utkrishyate, tada na adharman utkrishyate. Yada jnanadi utkrishyate, tada na ajnanadi. Yada shantadi utkarsha kale, ghoradi utkarshascha viruddhate. So when jnana is more, the other thing goes down, and so on. And in this manner, samanyani atishayehi saha ete guna itare itara itarashrayena uparjita sukha dukkha moha pratyaha iti. And in this manner, these three gunas together, by interacting with each other, either in cooperating manner or in a opposing manner, they start creating uparjita sukha dukkha moha pratyaha. So they are the creators of the sukha dukkha and moha pratyaya. So sukha dukkha both are the kleshas, and also in addition to the moha, the delusion also is created. Therefore, sarve sarva rupa, all the things, all the padarthas, sarve padartha sarva rupa, sukha dukkha moha dharmaka bhavanti. And therefore, everything in this world is having all the three aspects. Then, if everything is of the with all the three, then why you are giving so much importance only to one kind? So, esham visheshaha guna pradhana bhavakritaha. So, what is the separate speciality? Guna pradhana bhavakritaha. When one guna is pradhana, other becomes gauna. Like when sattva becomes prominent, rajas tamas become secondary. When rajas becomes prominent, sattva rajas tamas becomes secondary. And in this manner, when sukha becomes more, dukkha moha becomes less. When dukkha becomes more, sukha and the moha becomes less, and so on. And in this manner, the samanyataya guna bhavo atishayatmana cha pradhanyam tasmad sarvam dukkham eva vivekinaha. And therefore, for the wise person, those who know that this is all happening inside the mind, even at the time of indulging in the worldly enjoyments, tad asya mahataha dukkha samudayasya prabhava bijam avidya. And where from this whole series of terrible miseries are born, it is from the avidya, the prabhava bijam, the source of creation. All these dukkhas is nothing but avidya. And tayascha abhava hetuhu samyak darshanam. And to remove this avidya, ignorance, the only way is samyak darshanam, the way of looking at the things with right kind of understanding. Unless this right kind of understanding, samyak darshana, viveka khyati, doesn't take place, one will be never able to get out of it. So here he gives very good example. Yatha chikitsa shastram. Like in the chikitsa, in the medicine, science of medicine, what is done? Four things are done. Rogaha, roga hetuhu, arogyam and bhaishajam. Four. What is the roga? That is first of all discovered. Second, roga hetuhu, what is the cause of that misery or the roga or the disease? That is established. Then arogyam, then it is necessary that we revert back to our health. And for that, what is the medicine? So these are the four things on which the medicine or the medical science works in the same manner. Here also, iti chaturvyuham evam idam api shastram. And so also, the shastra also works on these four principles. Which are those? What is the disease? Samsara. So, samsara hetuhu, what is the cause of the samsara? That is to be established. Then, moksha, one has to get out of the limitations of the samsara. And fourth, moksha upayaha. How do we get out of this samsara or the experience of relativity? In this manner, tatra dukkha bahula samsaraha. Now the four things are defined. So what is the samsara? Samsara is the dukkha bahula samsaraha, where there is a lot of miseries all the time. That is called as samsara. And therefore the samsara is heya, it is worthy of rejection. Now what is the cause of the samsara? Pradhana purushayoho sanyogaha. When the purusha prakriti come together, samsara begins. See? Happy man living happily, happy lady living happily. No, let us get married. And thereafter start suffering. This is such a wonderful thing in this world that all the children see their parents non-stop miserable, and yet they never imagine that this is never a source of happiness. There was one girl, she always used to complain about her mother. Now she is married. Her complaint was, she was an engineer. Her complaint was, Swamiji, you please teach my mother, she is your follower, you teach her. She is irresponsible mother. Why, what happened? She doesn't care about my marriage. So I said, then you care. No, that I will have to do. If mothers are irresponsible, the children have to be responsible. I said, why she is not? I don't know. She said, no, don't bother about marriage. So I said, Amma, tell Swamiji, I am telling her from my first hand experience. Marriage has not given me happiness. And you are therefore the product of misery. And if you get married, you will become more miserable. So now, as on now, you are alone, single, why don't you remain happy? Now tell me, will any mother like her child to become miserable? No. And I know marriages can never give happiness. Therefore, she should not get married. And she really meant it. Don't get married. See? Surprising. So here the teacher says that what is the cause of this samsara? Heya hetuhu. So pradhana purushayoho sanyogaha. This is Purusha and Prakriti. When they come together, this becomes samsara. Therefore, heya hetu is to be rejected. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Purushaha prakrutistho hi bhunkte prakritijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sad asadjo nijanmasu. That way this Purusha is nowhere involved anywhere. It's totally independent. But prakrutistho hi goes and lives in the Prakriti, and thereafter Prakriti's modifications become his modification. And this is how the non-existing entity called as the Jiva is brought into picture. And then who is suffering? Purusha doesn't suffer. Prakriti doesn't suffer. It is only the wrong notion that there is a suffering. That wrong notion alone is suffering. So, avidya-kruta prakriti purusha sanyoga. Then sanyogasya atyantiki nivritti hanam. Therefore, what will be the moksha? Moksha will be sanyogasya pradhana purushasya atyantiki nivritti. Pradhana purushayoho atyantiki nivritti. The absolute separateness of these two, hatum or hanam, is called as the moksha or the liberation. That means, unless the Purusha separates himself totally and completely from the Prakriti, there is no way of getting out of this relative world. So, hanopayaha. Therefore, this separation of the Purusha and Prakriti from each other is the only way. This is, what is that? Hanupayaha samyak darshanam viveka khyati. Because, it is only out of ignorance, Purusha is getting attached to this Prakriti and suffers. Now it is so simple, it is so clear that this Purusha, in proximity with the Buddhi or the Mahat Tattva, gets reflected in the Buddhi Tattva called as Chidabhas. And then a phenomena is born called as enlivened Buddhi Tattva. Buddhi is Prakriti, inert. And Purusha is Chaitanya, free from inertness and modifications. And now these two things come together. Purusha gets reflected in the Prakriti. As a result, Prakriti becomes enlivened as if. Like the fan is hanging dead. Then the electrical energy flows through. Then what happens? A magnetic circle is created. And because of the magnetic circle, the fan starts moving. Now that magnetic circle is called as a Jiva. Now you switch on the fan, the magnetic circle is created, the fan starts moving. Then you switch off the fan, the magnetic circle stops, the fan stops. If you do this experiment 10 times, can we say that the magnetic circle number 1, then 2, 3, 4, they have got any relationship? No relationship. They are not continuous, they are discrete, they are discontinuous. Because first we started the fan, born. Then we switch off, died. Then again we have created, again born. Again switch off, again died. In this manner, no two experiences have any connectivity between them. No relationship. But this illusion of continuity and establishment of the relationship is making all the mess. And therefore then all these things are said that dukkha bahula samsaraha heya hetuhu. So sanyogasya atyantiki nivritti hanam. And how this is done? Only by hanopayaha samyak darshanam. What is samyak darshanam? Is recognition of this fact. And to recognize this fact, what is required is chitta vritti nirodha. Unless the chitta is totally quietened, you cannot work on the chitta. Like if you want to operate some patient, the first requirement is patient should be well secured. If the patient is lying on the operation table and if he is not well secured, it so happened, in one school I was taken in the biology laboratory by the children. And then they say, Swamiji, we will show you all that is happening inside the frog. They must be students of biology, zoology, something like that. So they have put that frog on the back and that wax tray and fix the 4 hands or the legs with the pins. And now everything was done, camera and Swamiji is coming, and now we have to show to Swamiji, see how the heart is moving, this, that and all. I said, hey, before you do that, is it properly fixed or it will go away the moment you do it? No, Swamiji, everything is done. And they started. And when they started, the frog was pretty healthy. And the pin that they have fixed, they were not very strong. So the frog gave a jerk. And with the open stomach, he just ran out, Imagine, our condition is like that. With the mind without being secured, it is kshipta, mudha, vikshipta. With that mind, we sit for meditation. Then our condition is like the person doing operation on the frog. It jumps out. In the same manner, to have the viveka khyati, the purusha tattva has nothing to do with the prakriti. And this is all. Therefore, purushaha prakrutistho hi bhungte prakritijan gunan. So the purusha in association with the prakriti assumes that he has accepted all the qualities, attributes of the prakriti on himself. See? It is something like this, See how the meaning of this through this example. There was one boy, he was asked to get married to a particular girl. And when that lady told me, I was thinking whether to laugh or cry. So he said, no, I don't want to get married to that girl. No, she is very good looking, and the only daughter, and they have got a lot of property, and they are also nice people, and they belong to our community, and everything is fine, this thing, that thing, and He said, whatever it is, I don't want to get married to her. You are, you don't understand this thing, that thing and all that. I want to get to that girl whom I love and all that. Finally, he didn't get married to her. And afterwards, the same mother who was complaining and telling me, so you tell him to get married to her. I said, if it is my marriage, I can decide. How can I decide about his marriage? If you ask me to tell him, I tell him, don't get married at all. There is no need to get married. And again, after about 3, 4, 5 months, that same lady came. Swamiji, I want to tell you good news. So what happened? Your son got married to the same girl? No, he did not get married to the same girl. It was very good. So why? That girl became mad. Now see, the girl became mad is a good news, or to that mad girl, my son did not get married. Had he got married and had she become mad after marriage, then what would have been the life? Swamiji, by your grace. By my grace what? That girl became mad. See? Where is dukkha? Our own identifications. So we only get imagined, identified. When the mind is disturbed, I am disturbed. When the mind is having anger, I am angry. When the mind is having dukkha, I am dukkhi. So this Purusha becomes so much attached, one with this modification of the buddhi vritti, that he starts behaving as if he is that. This topic comes in a most enchanting manner in Bhagavad Mahapuran as Puranjana Akhyan. In that Puranjana Akhyan, it's a very long and beautiful story, very enchanting. And the principle is the same. The principle is that Puranjan, he goes to that and then he falls in love with that girl, and she is always protected with a 5-hood snake and always and all that thing. And when Puranjani, when she is happy, he is happy. When she is crying, he starts crying. When she is dancing, he starts dancing. When she sits down, he sits down. When she gets up, he gets up. In this manner, his whole life becomes Puranjani-may. And after that, Naradji tells the meaning of the whole story. This is how the Purushaha Prakrutistho hi bhunkte Prakrutijan Gunan. Becomes so much involved with that as if he is the enjoyer. Now which Purusha? The reflected, not the original. So, Tatra hatuhu swarupam upadeyam heyam va na bhavitum arhati. Therefore, what is to be rejected? Not the Atma. Atma cannot be rejected. Because Atma is the same. It is neither heyam nor anupadeyam. It is far beyond that. And therefore, this association, sanyoga, the connection between the Prakriti and the Purusha has to be severed, and that is done only by discrimination. Please understand this point. Purusha Prakriti cannot be separated by any means. No physical torture will help. No psychological hypnotism will help. It is only the wisdom that this Purusha, when in association with the Prakriti, creates an illusion that as if the Purusha is miserable. He is not. Just imagine, for the sake of imagination, that in a mirror there is a reflection of fire, and the fire is burning inside the mirror. Now what is that reflection? It is only a reflection. It cannot burn. And thereafter you go and stand in front of that mirror. So your reflection is also in the same mirror. And then imagine that the reflected fire is burning your reflection in the mirror. And because of that, there is a chaos. Will it ever happen? It can never happen. Because reflection itself is not real. This experience I had, discovered long time back, about 20-30 years before. I was sitting near a lake, absolutely standstill, early morning, 5 o'clock. Nobody there. And in that lake, there was one bamboo fixed for something. And the reflection of the bamboo was so perfect. So you couldn't know where from the reflection begins and where the original bamboo ends. Like that. Only by deflection you can see his terra, so from there. And then I started looking at the reflection and wanted to investigate what it could be. So, the water is not influencing the original bamboo, very clear. No doubt about it. Now this water, is it influencing the reflection of that bamboo stick? So, then I took another stick and slowly got into the water where the reflection was. Now will that stick pierce the reflection of that bamboo? No. Why? There is nothing solid called as a reflection. It only appears, it is not. Thereafter, the second experiment I did. Put one small stone. So when you put the stone, the water starts sending the circles. When you start sending the circles, then the reflection also starts breaking up. Now, is the reflection really breaking? It is not breaking. Because when the water will again come to stand still, again it is the same continuous reflection. Now why this? Because if the reflection is real, then only something can happen to it. So what is the reflection? It's only a appearance. It is not reality. If this example is clear, now Purushaha Prakrutistho hi. When this Purusha gets reflected in the Prakriti, now this reflection is not real. And what we have been talking, all these karma, etc., it is the story of the reflection. How much we get influenced by. And that is why the moment we come to discover that this Purusha, although in company with the Prakriti, can never be influenced by the Prakriti. See? When this Viveka Khyati takes place, he is Jivan Mukta. Samprajnat Samadhi is perfect. How very clear. And when this Ekagra Sthiti also disappears and Chitta Vritti Nirodha becomes perfect, in that case, there is no reflecting medium called as the Vritti for the Purusha to reflect. Therefore, in the absence of reflection of the Purusha in the Chitta Vritti, because there is no Chitta Vritti, then what happens? Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Then Purusha reverts back to his original status, and what happened to the Prakriti? This Alinga Parinama, it goes back to the Prakriti unmanifest. This is how the moksha or the liberation takes place. And what is the way? Only one way. And that is, do not give any importance, any value to the vrittis. Any vritti, good or bad. Be extremely aware about the frequency of thoughts that is erupting in our mind. Be extremely aware how much we are getting influenced by every thought. Be extremely aware how much importance we have given to something in this world that alone is disturbing us. See? once we become aware about this, you will see ekagrata is a bondage. Single-pointedness is a bondage. Had it not been, why the asampradhyat samadhi is sought? Because even ekagrata keeps us only in the prakriti. It's only in the awareness that we have to reach. And that is why the lesser we are giving importance to any kind of thought, the more aware we are. And increasing, if we can say this, increasing the proportion of awareness in our experience is spiritual growth. Therefore, when this Purusha Khyati takes place, then Ubhaya Pratyayakhyane cha Shashvatavadaha Samyak Darshanam. And when these two things are very clearly understood, that Hatuhu Purushasya Sarupasya Ubadeyatvam cha Atha Heyatvam Shashvatavadaha, then we will end up in a wrong kind of understanding. Therefore, let us not try to improve the ego. And what is the ego? Ego is not reflection. There one more step, please understand this. What is ego? Reflection number one, which takes place of the bulb in the bucket. Okay. Then you switch off the bulb light. Reflection disappears. Again you switch on, again the reflection comes. Do this for n number of times. Now, n number of times the reflection has come in that same bucket. Bucket is not different. Same water, water is not different. Now those reflections, n of them, do they have any relationship with each other? They have no relationship. But we create an illusion of continuity. And that illusion of continuity is called as ego. So what we have to do? 2 steps. Step number 1, cut this illusion of continuity. Step number 2, recognize that the reflection is an illusion. It is not real. And then alone you come to the Purusha, the original state of your being. Now this, Tadeta Shastram Chatur Vyuham iti abhidiyate. So, this Shastra also talks about these 4 aspects. Which are those? What are those? We will take in our next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.